So your warm-up today is 4 questions. Number 1, you are solving for x. So let's not break things, please. Okay, all of what's happening there needs to stop. Take it all out. Take your hood off, please. X plus 17 equals 161. Solve that, please, for x. Then it says, what is the ratio of nickels to pennies? So how many nickels, how many pennies? Make sure you simplify. Number 3 is simplify 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, which means write it with an exponent. And number 4 is order of operations. So solve that order of operations. Okay? I'll give you a few minutes to work on that.
Wait, for the ratio, do we have to multiply on it?
No.
What about simplify?
Simplify, yeah.
Oh, you can't simplify on number 2.
Okay, that's fine then.
Oh, wait, on number 3, you can simplify.
Huh?
Doesn't it say simplify?
Okay, a couple more minutes.
I was overthinking 3.
Yeah, all you gotta do is write it with an exponent.
Wait, is that really all we can do?
Yeah. Yeah, just write it with an exponent. You don't need to multiply it out.
I'm multiplying everything. I probably would have gotten it wrong even if it was doing this time.
For which one? 625. And then you gotta do that times 5. Whatever you get for that one, you also have to do times 5. Yeah, lots of multiplying by 5 there.
So the last one's kind of hard, because it's kind of hard for me to keep all that in my mind.
Well, that's why we have markers to write them down and try them on the board. It's helpful to write your steps down so you don't lose your place. Okay, let's go ahead and review these because I think we're pretty good on these. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this and stop presenting. All right, so behind me, can we see this? Okay. There we go. All right, let's start with number 1. We have x plus 17 equals 161. We need to solve for x over here, but we have this 17. What do I do to get rid of it? We got to subtract 17. So I subtract 17 here, but if I subtract it on one side, you also have to subtract on the other side. Good. So we're left with x here. And what does that equal? What's 161 minus 17? What is it? 144? I believe so, yeah. 4, 4, 1. Good. 144 is your final answer.
Did she send you the schedule?
No, but I assumed you were in here sometime during math. She said 10 or 10:30. So I don't know.
No, actually, on Chester Mills.
That's fine.
So I didn't just totally dog you, but she's like changed up on her schedule. So
No, you're good.
I'll get
Once
to
it gets figured out, just let me know. You're good until then, okay?
All right.
All right. So how can I check my answer to make sure I'm correct? Put it back in the equation. Take whatever x equals 144, add 17, and that equals 161. So if you checked your answer and it comes out correct, then you are good. You solved it correctly, okay? Plug in your answer 144 for where x was to see if you got it correct. It's,
154.
then you did your math a little bit wrong on that.
Either I did my math wrong or I got confused with my numbers.
Or it's a combination of both. You got confused, which made your math wrong.
Yeah.
It's possible. What's up?
My
The
friend.
PowerPoint doesn't make sense.
Which one?
Well, this is on the first page right now.
Okay. Hold on 1 second, guys. All right. I was telling everybody to hang on while I talk to Mrs. Mills, but we're good now. Let's go ahead and keep going over this. We are on number 2. Finding the ratio of nickels to pennies. So the number of nickels needs to come first. How many are there? There are 5. 5 nickels compared to how many pennies?
9.
Pennies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, close.
No. Can I simplify 5 to 9?
No.
No, there's not a number that goes into 5 and 9, so can't do that. What are the other two ways to write a ratio?
A decimal or fraction?
Not a decimal, but the fraction you are correct. So you can do 5 over 9. What's the other way?
5, 2, 9.
Good, using the word 2. So 5, 2, 9. So there's 3 ways to write ratios, okay? Right.
I did.
Yeah, if you wrote it any of these 3 ways, you're good. Number 3, we just need to write this with an exponent. We take the number 5, that's our base, our big number, and we need to raise it to an exponent. How many times is it multiplied together? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your exponent is 5. That's your answer. Charlie?
It's easy to overthink that.
It is easy to overthink that, especially if you, like Alan did, start multiplying it all out when you don't need to.
I did that too.
Let's see. What does that become? 25. What's 25
I
times
think it's
25?
2,875.
Let's see.
I like calculating.
That's like 25, yeah.
That seems wrong. Okay, we'll do that later. It's fine.
It's 3,125.
Yeah, something went wrong on my math, but that's all right. The answer that you're looking for here is 5 raised to the 5th power. You don't have to multiply it all out.
Okay, I did wrong. I thought I multiplied it wrong.
No, I don't know. And now number 4, we need to use order of operations, which is PEMDAS. Do we see any parentheses that we need to solve? Yep. Start with your parentheses. What is 5 minus 2? Okay. So we did our parentheses. Now exponents. Do we see an exponent? Yep. So we're going to do 4 to the 2nd power. How do I do 4 to the 2nd power? 4 times 4, which is what? 16 plus 8 minus 2 plus 3. Okay. Any multiplication and division to work out? Nope. We have addition and subtraction now. But remember, when you get down to just this, what do you do? Good. We're going to go left to right. So what is 16 plus 8? 24. 24 minus 2 plus 3. What's 24 minus 2? 22. And what's 22 plus 3? 25. 25. Ooh, went right to the bottom there. Your answer's 25. Sorry, I got really low down there, but try.
I think it's trying to shake us off because like they could just do like 4 plus 9 and that would be like simple, like 16 plus 9. But instead they did 16 plus 8 minus 2 plus 3. Or we could do 16 plus 8 plus 1. I got 17 on that.
Yes, there's lots of ways to go about it, but in order to do order of operations, this would be the order that you would follow, right? Yes, just because the parentheses weren't attached to the exponents. If the parentheses and the exponents were all like with one number, then it probably would have affected it, but since they were on opposite sides, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay, so there's our warm-up today. We are going to go ahead and go over to Google Classroom. Yeah, it's called Wednesday Practice. That's what we're going to work on today. Yes, because it is Wednesday and we're practicing it today. So, over on Google Classroom, that's my Google Drive. On Google Classroom, you should now have an assignment called Wednesday Practice. Okay, so go ahead and get that open, please. It's just a really, really. We're going to do one slide together, and then I'm going to have you guys work on the other 2 on your own. So you don't need to go ahead. We'll do one together, so no need to rush ahead of me yet. And then I'll give you the time to work on the other 2.
I got it.
Good. Once you have it open, just sit tight for a second. I'm going to let everybody else get it open.
Which one is the first one? Because I mixed mine all up.
The first one is Wednesday Practice.
I think
So the first one is the treasure one with the spring and the boulder and the big tree. Slide number 2 is the stores, Sears, Dillard's, and Penny's. And slide number 3 talks about an archaeologist. dig- Okay. Go ahead and get that logged in and opened up, please. Good. Okay, we're all there. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and look at our second slide number 2. This is the one we're going to do together. I'm going to zoom it into 100. That's a pretty good, yeah. Okay. It says, I'm going to sit down on my stool, hang on. I don't need to be standing. It says that use this treasure map to answer the following questions. The coordinates are represented on the grid with a unit of 5 paces. So that means that every unit that you move, you have taken 5 steps. So you've got to keep that in mind, right? Like if you're looking at this treasure map and you're trying to find the treasure, you need to make sure you count 5 steps, not just 1 step. You're not going to get to the right spot, right? So let's start with number 1. It says, how many paces is it from the spring to the tree? Remember that each unit is 5 spaces. Now, the reason that Miss Mills came in here and was all fired up and mad at me is because what do you notice about the spring and the treasure?
They're not lined up.
They're not lined up. They're not diagonal, which is not what we've been teaching you, right?
They're not
I mean, they are diagonal. I'm sorry. That's not what we've been teaching you. We've been teaching you that you need to do the horizontal distance or the up and down distance, right? And that's when I told her that it's just like you got to walk sideways and then go up, right? So she was getting all mad at me because I'm going to draw a line here. Because I was like, find this distance that's diagonal. And she's like, we can't do that. We didn't teach them. But what I want you to do is go sideways to where it's lined up horizontally. So let's see right there. Yeah. So you would go horizontal and then up and down. So you need to count the steps going sideways and then up.
You go to the side, two up, two to the side, two up, two to the side, two up.
No, it's just 2 to the side and then up, however many up that is. You don't need to draw the lines now. You can, yes.
Wait, but what about for the big tree though?
We'll do that one. Well, we don't have to do that one. We'll talk about it though. But first, let's find the distance. What? From the spring to the line of the treasure. How many steps is that, right? I'm gonna write that down. What? Hang on.
12, 11. 12.
Okay, so we have the treasure up here, right?
11.
And the spring is down here. And we need to follow this track, right? From the spring to like this area and then up to the treasure. How many jumps is it from the spring to where it's lined up with the treasure? From here to here.
12.
No, you guys are doing too much. From here to here. 2. And then from down here all the way up is how many jumps? Okay, you guys said different answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 10 from here to here. So in total, we're jumping and walking how many times? 2 plus 10 is 12 units. But each unit is how many paces?
12.
No. Can you just stop yelling at numbers, Alex? How many paces is 1 step?
5.
5. Thank you. So we need to do 12 times 5, which is what? 60 paces or 60 steps. So it's going to take you 60 steps to go from the spring to the treasure. Okay? 60 steps. So we're going to write that down.
I just put those in 50 paces.
60 paces, yep. Where it says type here, that's where you're going to write it.
Oh, I put that on the line.
Yeah, if you want to move it to the line, that's fine. So 60 paces.
So we can put it on the line.
If you want to move it over to the line, that's fine. It just wasn't going to fit there very well when I made this, so.
Wait, you made these slides?
Kind of, yeah.
I made my own.
Okay, I do. Number 2 says if the coordinates representing all of the objects are connected, what polygon is formed? So I'm going to erase these lines, like delete them, and we're going to connect the lines for these ones, all right? I'd like you to draw this one too, please. So from the spring to the boulder, I'm going to make that like there, and then from the boulder to the big tree, and then we've got the big tree to the treasure, and then the treasure to the spring. So it's asking you that when you connect all of those lines, what polygon, what shape is created?
Triangle.
A triangle. There's our answer. Good. Number 3, I'm not going to make you guys do because it's very difficult to draw on these things. I'm not going to have you do number 3. If you would like to type somewhere, like do your own text box and say skip, that's fine, but we're going to skip number 3. We draw a text box next to number 3. We're just going to write skip number 3. Okay?
So from the boulder to the treasure, it's 9.
All right. Are we good? Can we just do number 4 and then I'll let you guys work on the rest of the slide? Is it? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes.
Okay. Number 4 says, what is the distance from the boulder to the treasure? So again, this is not a straight up and down. This is diagonal. So the boulder is, where's my marker? There it is.
Can we skip number 3 on all of them?
No. So the boulder is over here, right? And we know that we can't find a diagonal distance, so we need to go up first and then over, or sideways first. It doesn't matter. Up and then over. What is the distance from the middle to this part?
8.
That's 8.
Yes. I think it's 8.
I'm pretty sure it's 8.
It's 11 and over.
So it's 8 up, and then how many across am I moving? 3. So how many units do I move all together?
11.
11 units, but that's not my answer. Why not? Good. Why is it 55? Good. Times the amount of steps you have to take for each jump, right?
Do 5 on every one?
For this grid, yeah. But on the next one, it might give you a different measurement. So our answer is 55 paces on this one. So on our type here part, we need to type 55 paces. So we need to take 55 steps to get from the boulder to the treasure. You do not need to answer that second part of the question. How can you use grid and another piece of paper to be sure? That's fine. You don't need to do that. It's a
Miss
55.
Jones,
Yeah.
are we gonna do the other 2 slides by ourselves?
Yes, you're going to work on those 2 on your own.
Okay.
Yep.
Can we start on them?
Yep, go for it. So that's actually exactly what you're going to do for the rest of class today. If you
Okay.
finish, you can get it turned in, and if you're online, you can finish it, get it turned in, and log off. If you're in person, finish it, work on something else until we go to lunch in about a half hour, okay? So there's 2 slides on here. Let's see. On slide number 2, you can answer all 4 questions, so make sure you do all 4. But on slide number 4, everybody go there really quick. There is another one where it says to draw the different shapes, and I don't need you to do that one, so you can put a text box that says skip number 3 again. Yeah, so you're going to skip number 3 on slide 4. Okay. So the ones that say draw a rhombus, a rectangle, and a trapezoid, you do not need to do, because you don't need to draw them. Honestly, there are shapes, like a shape, you can draw shapes on the thing. So if you were like, draw a rhombus, it would do it for you. So I'm not going to make you do that. Like,
So number 3 for the second slide. Do we have to match the ones that the
Yes, so on slide number 3, where it says match, there is a little, if you click next on the line, there is a little text box for you to write the letter in there of what it is.
So it's just one. Wait, you match all of those?
Match all of them, yeah. So the square is D, right? So you would, on that line, write D. It might not match up directly, but it's as close as it could get. So go ahead and finish out those 2 slides. That's the rest of your class today. Those of you online, I'm going to leave my Google Meet open until 11, so you guys can ask me any questions if you need help. Those of you here also ask questions. I'm going to move my computer over there. I'll turn on a little bit of music and let you guys just work, okay? Can you what? Mm-hmm.